Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing, without a shadow of doubt, that money flows to you effortlessly. That bills, debts, and financial worries no longer have the power to weigh you down. Sounds impossible? Or perhaps too good to be true? What if I told you, it's not? Not for those who master the wealth mindset. Florence Scovel Shinn, a spiritual teacher and author, believed that money is not just about hard work. It's about alignment. It's about mindset. And today, I want to show you how to tap into that infinite flow. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to attract money, opportunities, and success almost magically? And yet, others work twice as hard and struggle endlessly. Why? It starts with belief. Shinn said, "Your word is your wand. The words you speak shape your reality. When you say, 'I can't afford this,' you're not just stating a fact, you're planting seeds of limitation. But when you say, 'I am open to receiving abundant wealth,' you're planting seeds of possibility. Think about it. If you told a child, 'You are capable,' every single day, that child grows with confidence. Money works the same way. It responds to your inner belief, your vibration, your expectation. Here's a paradox: the more you give, the more you receive. Shinn taught that wealth is a circulation, not a hoard. Let me give you an example. Sarah, a friend of mine, was struggling financially. She decided to donate a small portion of her earnings every week. And within months, she got unexpected freelance projects, gifts, and opportunities that multiplied her income tenfold. She didn't chase money, she aligned with the flow of giving and receiving. Ask yourself, are you holding on too tightly? Are you afraid to let money flow through your hands? Open your hands, and let abundance move freely. Visualization is not a luxury, it's a law. Shinn encouraged imagining yourself living the life you desire. Not someday, today. Close your eyes for a moment. See yourself paying off debts, buying your dream home, helping others generously, living free from worry. Feel it. Taste it. Smell it. The mind cannot tell the difference between a vivid vision and reality. Feed your mind with prosperity, and the world will mirror it back to you. Fear is the biggest thief of wealth. Fear tells you, you can't do this, or money is scarce. But infinite money exists when you release scarcity thinking. Think about it. When was the last time fear ever brought you opportunity? Never. Fear shrinks, doubt blocks, hesitation paralyzes. Courage opens doors. And courage is simply action aligned with belief. Now, this is crucial. Mindset alone isn't enough. You must act. But act from a place of alignment, not desperation. Imagine a sailboat. Wind is your mindset. The boat's direction is your action. No matter how strong the wind, if the sails are misaligned, you drift aimlessly. But when belief, visualization, and inspired action are aligned, you move effortlessly toward your goals. So, I leave you with this: money is not scarce. It is an endless river, waiting for you to step in. Align your words. Release your fears. Give generously. Visualize boldly. Act courageously. Start today. Choose the mindset that attracts, not repels. Choose abundance over lack. The universe does not negotiate with doubt, but it responds to faith. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize you didn't just attract money. You created a life of freedom, joy, and infinite possibilities. Remember, wealth is a mindset. Master it, and money will follow. In this video you will listen these key takeaways. Your words shape reality. Speak abundance, not limitation. Giving multiplies wealth. Open hands attract infinite flow. Visualize your desired life vividly. The mind mirrors your beliefs. Fear blocks money. Release scarcity thinking and embrace courage. Align action with mindset. Like sails with wind, alignment brings effortless progress. Wealth is infinite. Money responds to faith, belief, and generosity. Have you ever noticed how the words you speak have a weight, a kind of invisible gravity that tugs at the world around you? Think about a moment when someone told you, "You can't do this," and how deeply it landed inside you, like a small stone sinking into water. That tiny stone created ripples in your confidence, in your actions, in your very sense of possibility. Now, imagine if those words were different. Imagine if someone had said, "I know you can, and I believe in you." Can you feel the shift? Can you feel how that one statement can spark a fire in the soul? Words are more than sounds. Words are seeds. And what we plant with our words grows into the reality we live. Florence Scovel Shinn often said, "Your word is your wand." It's a simple phrase, but it carries a truth so profound that it can transform a life if truly understood. A wand is not just a stick, it is a tool that directs energy, that channels intent into creation. Every time you speak, you are casting spells, whether you realize it or not. When you murmur, "I'll never get ahead," you are casting a spell of limitation. When you declare, "Abundance is coming to me," you are casting a spell of expansion. Your words are not empty. They have a vibration, a frequency, and the universe listens to them. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Maria, a single mother juggling 2 jobs, bills piling up, every day feeling like she was treading water in a storm. Every morning, she would mutter to herself, "I'm never going to make it. Things never go my way." And no matter how hard she worked, the universe seemed to answer in kind. Opportunities slipped by, bills mounted, and despair wrapped tighter around her heart. One day, an old friend pulled her aside and said something that changed her life. "Maria, watch your words. Speak as if abundance is already yours. Speak as if the universe is on your side." At first, it sounded foolish. How could talking differently change anything? But Maria decided to try. Every morning, instead of saying, "I'll never get ahead," she began saying, "I am attracting wealth. I am capable. I am open to opportunities." She even wrote it on sticky notes and plastered them across her small kitchen, so every glance reminded her of this new declaration. Within weeks, her mindset shifted subtly. She noticed small opportunities she had previously ignored: a freelance job that could pay extra, a neighbor who offered her part-time work, a sale on an item she had been needing. Nothing massive, nothing overnight, but the momentum had begun. And as she continued to speak her words of possibility, doors she didn't even know existed began to open. Think about how powerful that is. Words are the bridge between thought and reality. They are the first ripple in the pond that eventually spreads to every corner of our lives. When we speak scarcity, fear, and limitation, we invite scarcity, fear, and limitation. When we speak abundance, hope, and possibility, we invite abundance, hope, and possibility. This is not mere optimism. It's a law as reliable as gravity, as inevitable as the sunrise. Consider the story of Thomas, a young man working in a crowded corporate office, dreaming of entrepreneurship but trapped by self-doubt. Every time someone mentioned starting a business, his first words were always, "I can't risk it. I'm not ready. I don't have the skills." For years, he repeated this silently and aloud, a constant internal chant of limitation. But one evening, sitting alone in a cafe, he overheard a conversation between 2 entrepreneurs. One said, "The moment you declare your intentions, the universe rearranges itself for you." That phrase stuck. He realized he had been speaking against himself for so long that the world had no choice but to respond in kind. That night, he began a new practice. Every morning he declared, "I am a successful entrepreneur. Opportunities come to me easily. I am capable and ready." He even recorded it and listened to it while walking. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, people began reaching out to him with collaboration ideas, mentorship, and investment opportunities. By the time a year had passed, he had launched his first business, not because he suddenly became brilliant or lucky, but because the energy of his words had aligned the universe in his favor. Notice the difference between thinking something and speaking it. Thoughts can remain trapped in your mind, vague and fleeting. Words give thought form. Words give life. When you verbalize your intentions, the universe, and more importantly, your own subconscious, begins to act in response. That is why Shinn emphasized choosing words with care. Not just "I hope this works" or "I'll try my best," but strong, declarative language that leaves no room for doubt. I am worthy. I am prosperous. Money flows to me with ease. And here's the beauty, you don't even have to speak these words aloud for them to work, though doing so amplifies the effect. Speaking to yourself internally with clarity and conviction, writing affirmations, journaling with intention, even imagining conversations where abundance is your reality, all of these are ways to cast the spell of your own words. The universe cannot tell the difference between a whispered intention and a shouted command. What matters is the energy behind it. What matters is the faith that your words carry. Let's take a moment to think about children. Children are the perfect illustration of the power of words. A young child who is told, "You are smart, creative, and capable," grows up believing in those qualities, often manifesting them naturally. A child who is told, "You're not good enough, you'll never succeed," carries that weight into adulthood, sometimes without ever questioning it. Money works in the same way. Every time you speak limitation, you are conditioning yourself for lack. Every time you speak abundance, you are conditioning yourself for prosperity. Imagine walking into a room filled with opportunities. Doors everywhere, each leading to possibilities, yet some remain closed to you because your words, spoken and unspoken, are holding the key to those doors. Are you saying, "I am not ready," or "I can't do this"? Or are you saying, "I am ready. I am open. I deserve this"? Words open doors, not just metaphorically, but energetically. They create a path where there was none before. And this is not about blind positivity or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about choosing the language that empowers you to act despite challenges. Instead of saying, "I'm overwhelmed by bills," you say, "I am finding solutions that bring me financial freedom." Instead of saying, "I'll never get that promotion," you say, "I am recognized and rewarded for my talents." The difference is subtle in sound, but seismic in effect. Every word you speak is either a building block or a brick in a wall. Are you building a life of limitation, where money slips through your hands like sand? Or are you building a life of opportunity, where money flows freely and abundance is inevitable? The choice is always in your mouth, in the vibration of your voice, in the spell you cast with every syllable. Have you ever noticed how the simplest act of giving can create a ripple far larger than you ever imagined? It's strange, isn't it? We grow up thinking money is something to hoard, something to clutch tightly in case tomorrow never comes. And yet, the truth that Florence Scovel Shinn revealed is the opposite. Wealth is not a stagnant pile, it is a circulation. Money, like water, flows. It needs to move, to travel from hand to hand, to rise and fall like a tide. And when you give, even in the smallest measure, you open the floodgates to receive in ways you could never have predicted. I remember meeting a man named David. David had just started his career and lived paycheck to paycheck. He was deeply afraid of losing what little he had, convinced that any act of generosity would leave him in want. But one day, a mentor gave him a simple challenge: give away something you value, even if it's small, and watch what happens. David scoffed at first. How could he possibly give anything when he was barely making ends meet? But he chose to trust the lesson. He donated a small amount to a local charity, something that barely made a dent in his account. The next week, a neighbor whom he had never met offered him a side project that paid 3 times the amount he had given. And over the months that followed, opportunities continued to flow: clients, friends, unexpected financial gifts. The act of giving, tiny as it seemed, created a current that swept abundance directly toward him. It's almost magical, isn't it? But it's not magic, it's a law. The universe responds to movement, not stagnation. When you hold tightly, fear gripping your hands, the flow of wealth stalls. But when you release, when you trust and allow your resources to circulate, doors open, pathways appear, and money begins to move toward you. And giving doesn't always have to be about money. Time, attention, knowledge, kindness, encouragement, these are currencies that can generate returns as powerful as cash. Think about the story of a small cafe owner, a woman named Lila. She was struggling to attract customers and her rent was overdue. One morning, she decided to give out free cups of coffee to passers-by, not to gain anything in return, but simply to brighten their day. At first, it seemed like a reckless act. But soon, word spread. People came not only to taste her generosity but to buy pastries, to bring friends, to celebrate their own milestones in her cafe. Within months, her business flourished. That small act of giving had unlocked abundance in ways she could never have calculated. This principle works in personal life too. Consider your friendships. your relationships, your professional networks. When you approach people with generosity, offering help, advice, or even just a listening ear, you create bonds that return to you in unexpected ways. An old colleague may recommend you for a high-paying position. A friend may connect you with someone who changes the trajectory of your business. A stranger may offer an opportunity that feels like a miracle. Every act of giving is a seed. And every seed, when nurtured with intention, grows into a tree that bears fruit you never imagined. Shinn's words echo through time because they touch this truth: giving is not losing. Giving is a magnet. You pull abundance toward yourself by letting it flow outward. Imagine trying to drink from a river while sitting in a dry cup. You cannot scoop up water if your hands are closed. But open your hands, dip in, and the river rushes toward you, filling every space. Money, opportunities, and prosperity work the same way. I once spoke with a teacher named Elena, who lived modestly yet radiated a sense of freedom and abundance. I asked her, "How do you manage to live so fully with so little?" She smiled and said, "I give before I receive. I give what I can, where I can, and the universe never lets me want." It wasn't about luck or windfalls. It was about trust in the law of circulation. The more she gave, the more flowed back. And her life was rich not just with money, but with love, opportunity, and joy. Here's a scenario to make it more personal. Imagine you are at a crossroads financially, unsure whether to spend on yourself or give to someone else. Your instinct may be fear, your inner voice whispering, "I can't afford it." But pause. What if giving was the key to your own prosperity? A small gesture, a tiny donation, a moment of mentorship or encouragement could set off a chain reaction. Perhaps that person will return the favor. Perhaps the universe will redirect a chance your way. Perhaps it will simply open your heart to receive in ways you never imagined. The act of giving is the first domino in a cascade of abundance. And the beauty of this law is that it transcends calculation. You do not give to get, you give because giving aligns you with abundance. When your motivation is pure, the universe meets you halfway. Giving transforms your energy, and energy attracts like energy. Money flows to those who trust the flow, not those who cling in fear. It's a rhythm, a dance, a sacred exchange between you and the world. Consider a story from history. Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men in the world, believed deeply in the power of giving. He gave away vast sums of money to build libraries, schools, and foundations. Yet, paradoxically, his legacy of generosity amplified his influence and wealth, attracting opportunities, partnerships, and recognition that money alone could never purchase. The more he gave, the more he shaped a world that mirrored his abundance. And it started with intention, with choosing to release, with trusting that giving multiplies wealth. Even in small ways, this principle works. A friend might buy lunch for a colleague who forgot their wallet. A business owner might offer a discount to a struggling customer. A mentor might invest time in a promising student. These acts of giving, though seemingly minor, send ripples through the energy of life. They signal to the universe that abundance is possible, that generosity is welcome, that wealth is not a zero-sum game. Giving is also about mindset. When you shift from fear of lack to trust in circulation, your relationship with money changes. You stop hoarding, stop counting every penny, and start seeing opportunities, investments, and possibilities everywhere. You start to notice that when you give, the universe responds, sometimes in the same channel, sometimes in ways completely unexpected, often in ways that surpass your imagination. It is a law as natural as breathing: to give is to receive. And in this process, the emotional and spiritual rewards are immense. You feel lighter, freer, more connected. Your heart opens, and you experience wealth not just in numbers, but in richness of life, joy, and purpose. The law of circulation is not just about money, it is about alignment with the infinite flow of life. And it all begins with a single act, a simple decision to give, to trust, to open your hands and let abundance move through you. He closed his eyes and imagined his life as he truly wanted it. He pictured waking up in a sunlit apartment, the smell of fresh coffee filling the air, the gentle hum of productivity around him. He imagined checking his bank account and feeling relief, not worry. He saw himself meeting clients who appreciated his work, smiling as he signed contracts that aligned perfectly with his talents. He didn't just see it, he felt it. The joy, the excitement, the pride all coursed through him as if it were happening in that exact moment. At first, it seemed almost silly. He would lie there and think, this isn't real. I'm still stuck in the same routine. But he persisted. Every night, he allowed himself to immerse in the vision, letting every detail sink in. Colors, textures, sounds, even the emotions of the people around him, he visualized them all. And slowly, imperceptibly, his reality began to shift. He started noticing opportunities he would have overlooked before, a freelance project that matched his skill set, an old colleague reaching out with a collaboration idea, a workshop that would help him build connections. These were not random coincidences, they were the universe responding to the clarity and intensity of his vision. Visualization is not daydreaming. It is purposeful, disciplined, and emotionally charged. It is planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious, watering it with belief, and watching it grow into reality. Imagine an architect designing a building. They do not lay bricks haphazardly. First, they see the completed structure in precise detail in their mind. Every line, every curve, every room exists there before the foundation is poured. Your mind works the same way with wealth and life. Until you see it, feel it, and inhabit it in your imagination, your actions remain scattered, your goals unclear, your results unpredictable. Think about a young athlete training for a big competition. Every day, in addition to physical practice, they mentally rehearse their performance. They see themselves crossing the finish line, hitting the perfect note, scoring the winning goal. Their body learns through visualization. Their mind aligns with the outcome. And on the day of competition, they perform as though it was second nature. Wealth, success, freedom, these are no different. The more vividly and emotionally you see them in your mind, the more natural they become in your reality. I remember speaking with a woman named Aisha. She had always wanted to start her own business but felt paralyzed by fear and doubt. I don't know where to start, she told me. I can't even picture how it would work. I challenged her to spend 10 minutes every day visualizing her ideal business. She began by imagining the perfect office, the clients she wanted to serve, the products she wanted to offer, and even the excitement of delivering value to others. At first, it felt strange. But over time, her imagination began to shift her actions. She wrote down her ideas, researched opportunities, reached out to mentors. Within a year, her business was thriving, and she often marveled at how closely her reality mirrored the visions she had held in her mind. The key is emotion. Visualization without feeling is like a painting without color, flat, lifeless, and easy to ignore. But when you feel the joy, pride, relief, and excitement as if it's already real, your subconscious begins to act on your behalf. Opportunities appear, decisions become clearer, risks feel manageable, and your energy aligns with abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn reminded us that imagination is not idle, it is creative power. And imagination fueled with emotion is unstoppable. Picture this: you are standing at the edge of a vast ocean. The waves are possibilities, stretching as far as the eye can see. You have a boat, but it cannot move unless you climb in and chart a course. Visualization is that act of climbing in, imagining the journey, feeling the wind on your face, plotting the route in exquisite detail. The universe responds to the clarity of your course. It doesn't matter if you haven't yet built the sails or stocked the provisions, your mind's vivid map begins to manifest the journey itself. Even in everyday life, this principle works in subtle ways. Maybe you want a promotion at work. Instead of just hoping or working harder, imagine yourself sitting in that new office, receiving congratulations, taking on the responsibilities with confidence. Imagine the pride in your colleagues' eyes, the satisfaction of contributing at a higher level. Feel it in your chest. Let it sink into your body. Your behavior starts to change, your confidence, your initiative, your conversations, and suddenly, your imagined scenario begins to align with your lived experience. And it's not limited to material wealth or career. Health, relationships, creativity, joy, all of these respond to vivid imagination. When you picture yourself healthy, full of energy, moving freely, your choices align with that vision. When you imagine a relationship filled with love and understanding, your interactions reflect that energy. Life bends toward the clarity and intensity of your imagination. But here is a subtle truth: the mind resists vague or hesitant visions. You must be specific. See the details. Feel the textures. Hear the sounds. Smell the scents. Taste the experiences. Imagine your life so completely that it awakens not just your conscious mind, but your heart, your body, your soul. This is how thoughts move into reality. This is how dreams materialize into tangible abundance. And as you do this consistently, something remarkable happens. You begin to notice signs and synchronicities, small nudges that guide you toward your vision. Perhaps a friend mentions a resource you need, an opportunity presents itself unexpectedly, a challenge is suddenly easier to overcome. These are the universe's confirmations, evidence that your visualization is not idle fantasy but active creation. Fear is a subtle thief. It creeps in quietly, often unnoticed, wrapping around your mind like a shadow, convincing you that there isn't enough, that you're not enough, that the opportunities you seek are forever out of reach. Florence Scovel Shinn warned that fear is the biggest obstacle to wealth, more dangerous than debt, more crippling than failure. Because fear does not just paralyze your actions, it shapes the very reality you experience. When you fear scarcity, scarcity manifests. When you fear failure, failure finds a way. When you fear rejection, doors close before you even knock. Let me tell you a story about a man named Omar. He was talented, ambitious, and full of ideas, but he was trapped by fear. Every time an opportunity arose, a new business idea, a promotion, a potential investment, he hesitated. What if I lose? He would ask himself. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? For years, his fears dictated his reality. Jobs slipped by, investments dissolved, opportunities vanished, all because the first word he spoke was always what if. Then, one day, Omar met a mentor who said something that pierced through his anxiety: courage is simply action aligned with belief. Fear is not your enemy, it's your signal. Move through it, and the world opens. At first, Omar was skeptical. He had always equated caution with wisdom. But he decided to test it. A small investment opportunity came his way, one he would normally dismiss out of fear. Instead, he prepared thoroughly, visualized success, and stepped forward. He acted with courage, not recklessness, and the result was astonishing. Not only did he profit financially, but the act of moving through fear itself reshaped his confidence. Doors he had thought closed forever suddenly opened. People started trusting him, seeking his advice, offering collaborations. The world responded to his courage. Fear often disguises itself as practicality. I can't take that risk. I don't have enough experience. I might lose everything. These are the whispers of scarcity, the internalized voices of limitation. And they are powerful because they feel safe. But safety is an illusion when it keeps you from stepping into the life you are meant to live. Real safety comes from courage, from aligning your actions with faith, from trusting that abundance exists and that you are entitled to receive it. Consider the story of Maya, a young woman who dreamed of leaving her corporate job to start a creative studio. Every night, she would lie awake imagining the life she wanted, but fear would creep in: I don't have enough money. What if it fails? What if I can't provide for my family? For months, she was stuck in a loop of imagination and hesitation. One evening, she attended a workshop on mindset and abundance. The speaker said, "Fear is not a stop sign. It's a green light if you know how to drive." Something clicked. Maya decided to take a small step. She began freelancing on the side, building her portfolio, connecting with clients. Each act of courage, no matter how small, chipped away at fear. Eventually, she had the confidence to leave her corporate job. The business didn't just survive, it flourished. Fear had been powerful, but courage proved stronger. Fear also has a contagious energy. When you speak in fear, others respond with fear. When you hesitate, opportunities sense hesitation. But when you act boldly, when you embrace possibility with courage, the energy shifts. The universe responds to momentum, not hesitation. You cannot attract wealth while frozen in worry. You cannot open doors with your hands clenched around doubt. Release the fear, and suddenly you see pathways you never noticed. Suddenly, abundance flows where it was blocked. Rhetorical question: how often do we sabotage ourselves, waiting for the perfect moment that will never come, because fear convinces us that we are not ready? The perfect moment is now, the perfect time is courage, the perfect key is action aligned with belief. Every step through fear is a victory. Every decision made despite doubt reshapes your destiny. Imagine fear as a heavy chain holding you back from a river of endless wealth. Every worry, every I can't, every imagined limitation is a link in that chain. But courage, even in small increments, snaps links one by one. Every courageous act strengthens your ability to receive. Every bold decision signals to the universe, I am ready. I am capable. I am worthy. And in return, the river flows freely to you. Let's talk about small, everyday acts of courage. Saying yes to a new opportunity, even if it feels risky. Asking for the raise you deserve. Investing in your growth despite doubt. Approaching someone you admire for mentorship. Each act may seem tiny, but the energy behind it multiplies. Fear may whisper, but courage speaks louder. And every time you choose courage, the universe answers with aligned circumstances. Fear thrives in scarcity thinking, there isn't enough. I'll never have what I need. I must hold on. Scarcity is a mindset. It creates a reality where opportunities are limited and wealth feels distant. But abundance thinking, there is plenty. Opportunities exist. I am entitled to prosperity, creates a reality where possibilities multiply and money flows naturally. Scarcity shrinks your world, abundance expands it. Fear keeps you in a corner, courage opens the doors. And the most remarkable thing: courage compounds. One act leads to another. One decision to step forward creates momentum. You begin to notice that the universe supports boldness. People reach out to help. Unexpected opportunities appear. Synchronicities occur. The chain reaction of abundance starts with a single courageous step. Ask yourself, what would you do today if fear did not exist? What opportunities would you seize? What words would you speak? What investments, relationships, or ventures would you pursue? Fear is only a shadow. Courage is the light that illuminates the path to wealth, freedom, and fulfillment. And like every law Florence Scovel Shinn spoke of, this is available to anyone willing to act. Fear is powerful, but it is not invincible. Scarcity is convincing, but it is not reality. The universe responds not to hesitation, but to alignment, to courage, to a heart willing to receive. And when you release the weight of fear, when you step boldly into the flow of life, you will find that opportunities, money, and abundance were waiting for you all along, ready to fill the space fear once occupied. Have you ever tried to row a boat in a river, only to find yourself spinning in circles? Your arms ache, the water churns, but you're not moving forward. Why? Because effort alone is not enough. Without alignment, without direction, your actions are wasted energy. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that mindset is the wind, but action is the sail. You cannot rely on the wind alone, and you cannot row without a plan. To attract wealth, you must align what you do with what you believe, what you imagine, and what you intend. Let me tell you about a young man named Kamal. Kamal had vivid dreams of starting a tech company. Every night, he imagined the success, the offices, the clients, the products. He even wrote daily affirmations, visualized opportunities, and practiced gratitude. But he spent months, then years, waiting for the perfect moment to act. He feared mistakes, feared failure, feared imperfection. One day, a mentor looked at him and said, "Dreams without action are just illusions. But action without belief is like rowing upstream against a storm." That hit Kamal hard. He realized he had the mindset right, but his actions were misaligned. The next day, he began small. He registered his company, created a prototype, reached out to potential clients, and pitched his ideas. Each step was intentional, rooted in his belief that success was possible and inevitable. He didn't wait for perfect conditions, he acted with faith, adjusting and learning as he went. Slowly but surely, his business began to grow. Investors noticed his clarity and confidence, customers responded positively, and opportunities that once seemed out of reach became natural extensions of his efforts. His actions were aligned with his mindset, and the river of abundance began to carry him forward effortlessly. Alignment is the bridge between imagination and reality. You can visualize a life of wealth and abundance, speak powerful words of affirmation, release fear, and give generously, but if your actions contradict your mindset, nothing shifts. If you tell yourself you are worthy of abundance, yet refuse to ask for raises, start that business, or invest in your growth, the universe cannot act on your intentions. Your energy is divided, your potential trapped. But when you synchronize your thoughts, beliefs, and actions, a force emerges that feels almost magical. Opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. Doors open. People reach out. Money flows. Let's consider another example. A woman named Nida dreamed of becoming a renowned chef. She visualized herself hosting her own culinary events, building a brand, and impacting lives through food. But she stayed in a job she hated, avoiding any action that could put her vision at risk. One day, after attending a seminar on mindset and alignment, she made a promise: she would act in every way that supported her dream. She started small, experimenting with new recipes at home, sharing videos online, networking with local restaurateurs, but every action was intentional. Each day, she reinforced her belief with practice. Within months, her online presence caught the attention of a popular food blogger, leading to collaborations, catering gigs, and eventually her first pop-up event. Her alignment of action and mindset turned imagination into reality. This principle is universal. Look at any successful entrepreneur, athlete, or artist. Their mindset may have been exceptional, but it was their deliberate, aligned actions that created results. They do not act randomly. Every step is a conscious extension of their beliefs. They visualize the end, speak affirmations that reinforce it, release fear, give generously, and then act decisively in ways that reflect their intention. They row with the wind, not against it. Alignment also teaches patience and timing. You don't force the river, you navigate it. You take action in the right direction, at the right pace, based on clarity and intention. Acting recklessly without mindset is wasted energy. Acting with mindset but inaction leads to stagnation. True abundance emerges when both flow together in harmony. Consider the story of a young musician, Farah. She dreamed of performing on international stages. She imagined every detail: her music, her presence, the applause, but initially, she only practiced sporadically. One day, a mentor told her, "Your talent is not enough. Your practice, your auditions, your network, these are your actions. Align them with your vision." Farah then scheduled daily rehearsals, performed at local venues, recorded her music professionally, and reached out to industry contacts. Within a year, she was offered a tour, collaborations with established artists, and recognition far beyond what she had imagined. Her consistent, aligned actions made her dreams tangible. Ask yourself this: are your actions truly aligned with what you believe and imagine? Do your daily choices reflect your vision of abundance, or do they contradict it? Small decisions matter. The money you invest in your growth, the relationships you nurture, the opportunities you pursue, all are reflections of your alignment. Even hesitation in small things creates friction, slowing the flow of abundance. Alignment also cultivates confidence. When your actions mirror your beliefs, you move through the world with clarity, authority, and authenticity. People sense it. Opportunities respond to it. Money, in all its forms, is attracted to confidence rooted in aligned purpose. You are no longer chasing outcomes desperately, you are moving in rhythm with the currents of possibility, letting your mindset guide every step. Think of it like a bow and arrow. Your belief is the tension in the bow, your visualization is the aim, your action is the release. Without tension, the arrow falls short. Without aim, it misses the target. Without release, nothing happens. Only when all three are perfectly aligned does the arrow soar and hit the mark. Your mindset and your actions are the same: precision, intention, and momentum are required to manifest abundance. Even in everyday life, alignment is critical. Paying bills on time, investing wisely, networking consciously, pursuing education, learning skills, these are all actions that must reflect your belief in abundance. It's not enough to hope for wealth, you must act in ways that demonstrate to yourself and the universe that you are ready and capable of receiving it. Every small, intentional action compounds. Each decision to act in harmony with belief builds momentum, and momentum attracts more opportunities, resources, and prosperity. The river of abundance does not suddenly appear, it emerges from the consistent alignment of mindset and action. When they flow together, life moves with effortless energy, doors open where walls once stood, and the world becomes a reflection of your vision. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast, endless ocean. The waves stretch as far as the eye can see, sparkling under the sunlight, each crest a possibility, each ripple an opportunity. This ocean is abundance. Infinite. Unstoppable. Yet so often, we approach it with a tiny cup in our hands, afraid to drink deeply, believing that there isn't enough to go around. Florence Scovel Shinn reminds us that wealth is not limited, that money is not a scarce resource to be fought over, hoarded, or feared. It is infinite, waiting to flow to those who understand its nature, those who embrace faith, belief, and generosity. Let me tell you a story about a man named Idris. Idris was a hard-working shopkeeper, barely making ends meet, constantly worried about bills and rent. He viewed money as finite, something to guard with his life. One day, a traveling teacher visited his town and said, "Abundance is a river. It flows endlessly. Stop trying to hold water in a thimble, and watch the current carry you." Idris was skeptical, but something in the words stirred him. He began small, offering discounts, giving extra supplies to struggling neighbors, sharing advice freely. At first, it felt counterintuitive. How could giving more possibly bring more? But slowly, Idris noticed changes. Customers returned, bringing friends. A supplier offered him better terms, recognizing his generosity. Unexpected opportunities appeared, each reinforcing the idea that money is not a zero-sum game. The truth is, wealth responds to energy, not scarcity. Fear contracts, faith expands. Doubt blocks, belief attracts. Every time you hold tightly, worried that there won't be enough, you close the door to possibilities. But when you act from trust, giving generously and speaking affirmations of abundance, you open the floodgates. The universe has no limit, it mirrors back the faith you carry. Consider a woman named Salma. She had always dreamed of traveling the world while building a charitable foundation. For years, she believed it was impossible. There wasn't enough money, there wasn't enough time, she thought. Then she shifted her mindset. There is enough. Opportunities are endless. I am capable of creating wealth and using it for good. She began taking small actions, investing wisely, networking, volunteering. Doors opened she never imagined: sponsorships, partnerships, invitations to global forums. Her belief in infinite abundance became a magnet, drawing opportunities and resources that exceeded her expectations. Even in small, everyday ways, the principle of infinite wealth manifests. A teacher sharing knowledge freely can attract sponsorships, students, and recognition. An artist giving away work with passion finds commissions flowing in. A business owner reinvesting profits generously often discovers clients and markets multiplying far beyond the effort put in. Wealth is energy, not just numbers. It responds to generosity, clarity, and faith. Ask yourself this: do you believe that wealth is limited, or do you see it as an endless river? Do you operate from fear of scarcity, or from trust that the universe provides abundantly? Most people unconsciously act as if money is finite, restricting themselves, hoarding opportunities, fearing loss. But the truth is the opposite. The more you open your hands, the more comes to you. Money, like water, cannot be trapped, it flows to movement, to action, to those ready to receive. I remember reading about a philanthropist who started giving away small amounts of money to people in need, not expecting anything in return. But as he continued, his wealth grew exponentially. Not just financially, but in connections, influence, and opportunities. The act of giving aligned him with abundance, proving that wealth is not a scarce commodity but a reflection of energy, belief, and intention. Faith is the key. Belief is the engine. Generosity is the channel. When you act with these three principles in harmony, wealth stops being a goal and becomes a natural byproduct of your life. Fear no longer dictates your decisions. Scarcity no longer limits your vision. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles, resources where others see deficits, and pathways where others see walls. Imagine again that endless ocean. Every wave, every ripple is a chance. And you are standing at the edge, not with a thimble, but with an open vessel, ready to receive. You begin to paddle, trusting that the current will carry you. The wind is at your back, your hands are steady, your heart is open. The universe responds. Opportunities appear. Money flows. People support you. Doors open. And what you thought was impossible becomes inevitable. The infinite nature of wealth also liberates you from fear. When you understand that money is not limited, scarcity thinking loses its power. You no longer hoard. You no longer compete out of desperation. You act from faith, clarity, and alignment. You give, you invest, you create, you expand. And in return, life responds, sometimes in ways more extraordinary than you could imagine. Even when challenges arise, the principle remains. Wealth is not a fixed number, but a river that flows endlessly to those who understand its laws. Temporary setbacks are simply ripples, not walls. Each act of faith, each generous action, each aligned decision, draws abundance closer. You realize that wealth was never outside of you, it has always been a reflection of your mindset, your courage, your generosity, and your trust in the infinite possibilities of the universe. And when you truly grasp this, a remarkable transformation occurs. You stop chasing money. You stop fearing its absence. You act boldly, give generously, and imagine vividly. Money, opportunity, and prosperity no longer feel scarce, they feel like a natural, unstoppable flow, responding to the vibration of your life. You have moved from scarcity to alignment, from fear to faith, from limitation to infinite abundance. And in that state, life itself feels rich, effortless, and extraordinary. So I ask you now, will you continue to let fear dictate your life, or will you rise? Will you continue to whisper, I can't, or will you declare, I am ready? Will you clutch money tightly, afraid it will slip away, or will you open your hands and let abundance flow freely? The moment is now. The time is now. The power is in your words, your thoughts, your actions, and your courage right now. Do not wait for tomorrow, do not wait for permission, do not wait for the perfect moment. It will never come unless you create it. Speak boldly. Give generously. Visualize vividly. Release fear. Align every action with your highest belief. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to attract wealth beyond measure. You have the power to live free, to dream boldly, to step into a future that you once thought impossible. And it all begins with one choice, one decision to believe, one decision to act, one decision to embrace the infinite flow of abundance waiting for you. Repeat after me in your mind, I am worthy. I am capable. I am open. I am abundant. I am unstoppable. I am ready. Remember this truth, and let it guide you. Wealth is not a dream, it is your destiny. Abundance is not a question, it is your right. Money is not limited, it is infinite, and it responds to your courage, your faith, and your generosity. Step forward. Step boldly. Step now. The river of abundance is flowing. Will you let it pass, or will you dive in and claim your life? And never forget this, you do not attract money, you create it, you call it, you become it. The wealth you seek is waiting for the courage you choose today.